These are the solutions to the 2017 April SAT. Section 3, Math, no calculator. If you want to find this SAT, you can search and download it from reddit.com. The first question asks about a farmer who sold 108 pounds of zucchini. 108 pounds. And we're told that we have Z pounds of zucchini and we have C pounds of cucumbers. The zucchini sells for $1.69 a pound and the cucumber sells for 99 cents a pound. Well, the first equation that comes to mind is that the pounds of zucchini plus the pounds of cucumbers has to equal 108 pounds. The next bit of information we're told is that the farmer collects a total of $150.32. And so what we know about buying things is that when you have Z pounds of zucchini for $1.69 a pound, you're going to multiply that by $1.69 to get the amount of money you're spending on zucchinis. And then you're going to take C pounds of cucumbers, you're going to multiply that by $0.99, and you should get $150.32. And so if we look at the answers, you can see that there is one that has Z plus C equals 108, and 169 times Z plus 99 times C is going to equal 150.32. And that answer is B. And you have to be careful because A is a little bit tempting, but what A does is it actually mixes up the 108 and the 150.32. And then the other questions actually mix up this, and they put the 169 with the cucumbers, which is wrong. And then they put the 99 cents with the zucchinis, which is also wrong. Question 2 says the formula above gives the monthly cost C in dollars of operating a delivery truck when the driver works a total of X hours. So here's the equation. C equals 10x plus 4y. We're told that we have X hours and Y is the number of gallons. And we're told that if it costs no more than $2,000 to operate the truck, so 2,000 is the cost, and that's going to equal 10 times the number of hours. And we're also told that the truck uses 150 gallons, so that's plus 4 times 150. So we have 2,000 equals 10x plus 600. And so we know that this must equal 1,400. So x is 140. And that answer is B. Question 3 says, which of the following polynomials is equivalent to the expression above? And what you can do with this question is you can look at the 5x squared, and then you can look at the 2x in front of the parentheses with the x after it. It's actually a negative 2x times, and then there's an x inside and a plus 5. These will distribute together, and you will get negative 2x squared. So you'll have 5x squared minus 2x squared will give you 3x squared. And so you can see that answers C and D are wrong. Now, when we look at answers A and B, you can see that they both have a minus 3 in them, so we don't need to worry about any of the numbers or constants in the equation. So we just need to look at the number of x's that we have. And in the question, we have a negative 3 parenthesis 1 minus x. These will distribute to give me a 3x. And over here, we have negative 2 times 5. And that's going to give us a negative 10x. When we combine those together, we're going to get a negative 7x. And so the answer is A. Question 4 gives a quadratic equation, x parenthesis x plus 2 is equal to 8. What we have to do is distribute. And when we do that, we get x squared plus 2x. But at the same time, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And these cancel, and I get equals 0 now. So I have a minus 8 equals 0. If I factor that, and to factor that, remember you want to put your x here, and you put your x here. You want two numbers that are going to multiply to negative 8, but they're going to add up to positive 2. And those two numbers are 4 and negative 2. So it's actually very tempting in this problem now to choose answer B, because answer B is 4, negative 2, and we have a 4 here and we have a negative 2 here. But it doesn't ask us for those numbers. The question says, which of the following lists all the solutions? Well, the solutions, this x here needs to equal negative 4 for the equation to be true, and this x here needs to equal 2 for the equation to be true, and so the answer is C. Question 5 shows a trapezoid with a triangle at one side. This angle is 115 degrees. And it says that BC and AD are parallel. That means these are parallel here. And AB and EC are parallel. So what that means is that this angle here is also 115. And that means that this angle on the inside here is going to be the same as the angle right here. And those are both going to be 65 degrees. Because of course 115 degrees plus 65 is going to equal 180. Now what they're asking for is a measure of angle BCD, and that's actually this angle here in red. So we have this angle is also 65 because CD is CE. So these two blue ones are told to be congruent, and when that is true, then the base angles are also congruent. So we have these two angles will now add up to 130. That means that the angle in the top right here, that angle is going to be 50 degrees because inside that triangle we have 65 plus something is 180, and that's going to be 50 degrees. And so the angle here in red will be the sum of 65 and 50, which is 115 degrees. So the answer is B. Question 6 gives us an equation 0.8 P equals T. And it says that at a store, a coat originally is priced P dollars and is on sale for T dollars. And the relationship between P and T is given in the equation above. What is P in terms of T? P in terms of T just means let's solve for P. So P equals what? Well, we know that we can just divide both sides by 0.8. We can just do that in our heads, actually. But I'll do it for you here. And so what does P equal? Simply T over 0.8. No writing is necessary for this problem if you just divide both sides in your head by 0.8. So the answer is D. Question 7 is a system of linear equations. X plus 2y equals 16 and 0.5x minus y is equal to 10. So when we have a system of linear equations, we want to solve them by linear combination, which means adding or subtracting them. But sometimes we have to do something to one equation first. And in this case, if we look at the 2y here, we can see that we have a minus y on the bottom. If I had a minus 2y, this and this would cancel when we added them up. And so what I'm going to do is multiply this equation by 2, rewrite it. X minus 2y equals 20. And now I can scribble this out and ignore it. This and this add up to 2x. These cancel out, and that's 36. So x is just simply 18. And that's what they're looking for. The answer is C. Number 8 gives an equation, y equals 2x plus 3. This is a linear equation written in slope-intercept form. That means that this is the slope and this is the y-intercept. So we have a slope of 2, and that means that we're going to have a rise of 2 for every run of 1. And we're going to have an intercept on the y-axis of 3. So if I were to draw this, I would start by putting 3 here, and that would be 2, and that would be 1. And I would have a point here, because I have a slope of 2, a rise of 2, a run of 1, a y-intercept of 3. My equation would look like this, and that matches A. Question number 9 lists 2 equations. This one is a quadratic, x squared minus 6x plus 11 equals y, and a linear x equals y plus 1. And they're asking for which of the following is the y coordinate? So they're looking for y. What does y equal when you solve the 2 equations, when they cross? And so what you might be tempted to do is you might be tempted to put this, substitute it in here for x, and also substitute it in here for x squared. And if you did that, you'd be able to solve for y directly. But if you plug this into x, you're going to have to square it. And then you're going to have to distribute a -6, which is dangerous because you might forget to distribute the negative sign. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to solve for y. And I'm going to say y is just simply x minus 1. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into there. And that's the only substitution that I'm going to have to make. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 11 is equal to x minus 1. And then I subtract x from both sides, and I get x squared minus 7x. And then I add 1 to both sides to counteract this minus 1 on the right. And so I'm going to have plus 12. And then I factor it. And this equals 0. And so I'm looking for 2 numbers that will multiply to positive 12 and add to negative 7. And that's negative 3 and negative 4. So x is either 3 or x is either 4. And they want to know what y is equal to. Well, we can see here that y is equal to x minus 1. So we either have y equal to 2 or y equal to 3. And if we look at our answers, we only have 2 available, and that is C. So the answer is C. Question number 10 gives us 5 over x minus 1 plus 8 over 2 times x plus 1. There is an overwhelming temptation to immediately jump into this problem and solve it by finding common denominators, which you would do by multiplying this by 2 and this by 2. But if you do that, you're complicating things more than you need to, because if we get rid of those and go back to our original problem, you will see that they have built in a very nice simplification for us. We can divide this 2 by 2 and get a 1, and divide this 8 by 2 and get a 4. And now we have common denominators. And so we just need to add the 5 and the 4, and we get 9. So the answer is 9 over x plus 1. Done. And that is A. Much easier than doing it the other way. And that's a very common thing on the SAT. They present a problem, and it seems more obvious to answer it one way, but then that way ends up being quite a bit slower. So always look for ways to simplify a problem before you start. Question 11. For a positive real number x where x to the 8th is 2, so x to the 8th is 2, they want to know what's the value of x to the 24th. X to the 24th equals what? Well, x to the 24th can be rewritten this way. X to the power of 8 times 3, because 8 times 3 is 24. And that would lead us to x to the power of 8 cubed if we use the exponent rule backwards, the product rule. Now, this means that, well, let's not forget what x to the 8th is. X to the 8th is equal to 2. So this is really 2 cubed, which is 8. So the answer is D, 8. There's another way to do it if you forgot this rule, but you should review your exponent rules if you forgot that rule. And that's to know that x to the 24th can be written this way as well. It can be written as x to the power of 8 times x to the power of 8 times another x to the power of 8. And that's going to equal, of course, x to the power of 8 plus 8 plus 8, which is x to the 24th. Well, if I substitute this one with a 2, and this one with a 2, and this one with a 2, and I multiply them, I will get 8 as well. Number 12 says, which of the following is an equivalent form of the cubic root of f to the 6a k squared? And they say that f is greater than 0 and k is greater than 0 because we don't want negatives inside of our square root. Now, the cubic root of anything is always just that thing to the power of a third. And so we can rewrite this immediately as f to the 6a k squared all to the power of a third. And then the exponent rule will tell us that this is going to distribute and multiply by that, and it's also going to multiply by that. So we have f to the power of 6a times a third and k to the 2 times a third, and that is f to the, well, these cancel, 1, 2, so we have 2a and k to the 2 thirds. And so the answer is D. Question 13 gives the equation g of t is equal to 5 parenthesis 7t minus 12c over 2 minus 25. And we are told that this models the number of people going to a public swimming pool. And we're told that 350 people are predicted to go to the pool. That means g of t is 350. And it says that the temperature is going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, that means that we now have 5 parenthesis 7 times 90, and then minus 12c, all over 2 minus 25. And basically we need to solve for c. Solve for c. Now to do this, we could add 25 to both sides, and then we could multiply both sides by 2, etc. We could also distribute this 5 to there, and we could distribute it to there. I would not do that. What I would do is I would multiply both sides by 2 right away. And if you do that, you're going to get a 2 here, and you're going to get a 2 here. And this 2 is actually going to distribute to here, and it's going to cancel this 2 out. And then it's going to distribute to here and make it a negative 50. So we have 700 equals 5 parenthesis 7 times 90 is 630 minus 12c, and this is minus 50 now. And another simplification that we can make almost right away is to divide everything by 5. So we're going to divide this by 5, and that's 140. And then we're going to divide this by 5, and that 5 is going to go into there, and it's going to go into there. And so we're going to get a pretty simple problem now. It's going to be 630 minus 12 C. And 50 divided by 5 is going to be 10. So we're going to have a minus 10 on the right side, which I'm going to add to both sides in a minute. And we're going to get 150. 150 equals 630 minus 12C. And what amount do I need to take away from 630 to get 150? Well, that's 480. So 480 is 12C. And C is equal to 40. And that's B. Question 14 says the boiling point of water at sea level is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And for every increase of 1,000 feet above sea level, the boiling point of water drops by approximately 1.84 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to have minus, and we're going to have something that we're subtracting to get our new boiling point. And if we look at the equations, we can see that really only A and B make sense because we're starting with 212 and we're going to be subtracting a constant amount each time the height increases. Now the trap is A. So A is not the answer because even though it uses the numbers directly from the problem, which is what makes it the trap, they are looking for you to choose B because you have to increase by 1,000 feet. Increase by 1,000 feet to drop by 1.84. And so it's the 0.00184 times 1,000 that is going to equal that drop of 1.84. So the answer has to be B. Question 15 is that of a circle. We have x squared minus 4x plus y squared plus 6y equals 24. I'm just going to immediately add that 24 to both sides when I rewrite it. Now we're looking for the radius, and let's not forget that the general equation of a circle is going to be x minus some h value squared plus y minus some k value squared is going to equal the radius squared. So we have this, but we're really looking to get it in this kind of a format. And to do that, we have to remember how to complete the square. And to do that, what you have to say is, I have x squared minus a 4x squared, and I'm going to need exactly half of this number squared added right here. So that's negative 2 squared is going to be plus 4. And on the right side, we have a 24. We have to add that 4 as well. We got to add to the left what we add to the right, or vice versa. 4. And we have to do the same thing with the y squared and the 6y to get it into this format. So we're going to have our plus. We have to add half of the 6, or the half of the positive 6 squared to both sides. So we have y squared plus 6y. Half of 6 is 3, squared is 9, plus 9, and we're going to get 37 on the right. That's going to be equal to our r squared. And so r is equal to the square root of 37. And you don't have to, but I'll complete the left-hand side. This here is going to become x minus 2 squared. And if you don't believe me, you can square it out yourself and you'll see. And then this one is going to become x plus 3 squared. Now, if they had asked for those equal 37. If they had asked for the center of the circle would be this h value here and this k value here. And so you can see that in this case, h is equal to 2, but in this case here, h is actually equal to k. K is equal to negative 3. So the center of the circle, if they asked for it, would be at 2, negative 3. That is the center. Question 16 is the beginning of the grid in section. We're given the absolute value of 5 minus x is equal to 4. And we're told that the value of one solution is 1. So we're told that x is equal to 1. Well, the thing to know about absolute values is that the thing inside the absolute value symbols will always become positive. So whether I have a 4 or a negative 4, it's going to be equal to 4. And so if we plug in 1 in there, we get the 4, which means what's inside needs to equal negative 4. So the 5 minus x needs to equal negative 4. And we know that 5 minus 9 is negative 4. So the answer is 9. Question 17, f of x is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 10. And we're told that c is a positive integer less than 5. C is less than 5. What is one possible value of f of c? Well, that's really the same thing as asking this question. I'm going to erase those c's. It's the same as this question. And so really they're just substituting the variable on you and trying to make it a little bit confusing. So we're going to pick a positive integer less than 5, and we're going to see what is the value of f of x. Let's try f of 4. Well, f of 4 is going to be 4 squared minus 4 times 4 plus 10. Well, these are the same. They cancel out, so we get 10. And that is one of our answers. We could also do f of 3 and plug that in. We get 3 squared minus 4 times 3 plus 10. And that would be 9 minus 12 plus 10. These two give us a minus 2, so we'd get and then plus the 9 would give us a 7, and so on. So there's a few more answers. And one more thing to remember in this question is that, we could plug in f of 2, we could plug in f of 1, but we cannot plug in f of 0 because 0 is not positive, but it's also not negative. However, 0 is even. Question 18 is about science students, and we need to make large circuits and we need to make small circuits. Now, a large circuit uses 4 resistors and 2 capacitors. So we'll put resistors up here, put capacitors here, make a little table. And a small uses 3 resistors and 1 capacitor. There are 100 resistors total. And there are 70 capacitors. Well, each group needs both a large and a small circuit. That means each group needs 7 resistors. We only have 100 of them. What's 100 divided by 7? Well, that's 14 and a little bit. 14 point little bit. Every group needs to have 3 capacitors. So we only have 70 capacitors. So we go 70 divided by 3. And that's going to equal 25, maybe 24 or something, 24 or 23. So it looks like this is the limiting amount. And we only have 14 groups of 7 resistors. And so our answer is we can only make 14. We can only have 14 groups maximum. Question 19. An angle with a measure of 7 pi over 6. 7 pi over 6. And we're asked, has a measure of d degrees. This equals d degrees. Well, you may remember that pi is equal to 180 degrees. So we can just simply substitute that in. 7 times 180 over 6. And don't forget, this is the no calculator section, so we cannot just plug this into our calculator. We have to reduce it. And the way you reduce it is you go 6 into 180 is 30, and 7 times 30 is 210. So it's 210 degrees. Number 20, the final question. The function f is defined by f of r equals r minus 4 r plus 1 squared. And they're telling you that f of h minus 3 is equal to 0. What is one possible value for h? What does h equal? Well, since they said f of h minus 3, we have to take that h minus 3 and we have to plug it in right there. And we have to plug it in right there. And we have to plug it in right there. So f of h minus 3 is equal to h minus 3 minus 4, h minus 3 plus 1 squared. And that is equal to, oh, no, don't forget f of h minus 3 is equal to 0. So then we have h minus 7, and we have h minus 2 squared equals 0. And what that means is h is either equal to 7 or h is equal to 2. And that's it. We're done. Thanks for watching. Question number 1 talks about a farmer who sold 108 pounds of produce. And we have Z pounds of zucchini, and we have C pounds of cucumbers. The farmer sold the zucchini for $1.69 a pound. And he sold the cucumbers for 99 cents a pound. And it says, which of the following systems of equations can be used to find the number of pounds of zucchini? We're also told that the farmer collected a total of $150.32. $150.32.